So 4,000 years ago, people used to live in there. They used to sleep side by side for warmth, and I guess they were kind of short, and they would live in there. This is the very, very top. That's like the chimney, and the house actually went down below the dirt. The dirt is covering up about 10 feet of the house. Whoa. It's a 4,000-year-old house, and living here, can't really see it, but there is a spider right there that ran out and tried to bite my finger. I don't know. It doesn't really have teeth big enough to bite a person, but it's living there like it remembers people used to live here thousands of years ago, and it's still living here waiting to like eat the people's food or something. Anyway, it's pretty cool. Fish is easier to cook because it doesn't really burn, but it can start to taste rubbery, okay? You don't really want your fish to taste rubbery from overcooking it. And a 1-ounce titanium stove, you run the risk of overcooking it. But I'm going to go for it anyway. So basically, I'm going to limit my cooking time. I'm going to cook this for 10 minutes, knock the flame off, flip it, cook it for another 10 minutes. And it smells good. It smells like fish. It smells fishy. All right. So there it is inside of its pan. Okay, it fits in there. I'm not going to add water this time. The fish has plenty of oil and water in it, so I'm going to cook it for short durations of time, 10 minutes a pop. Okay. The lid isn't really fitting on there. The Toaks 1500 millimeter lid, it doesn't really fit the 1500 millimeter pan. At first it's a little too tight, and then after you cook on it, it's a little too loose. And it gets dirty, but it's only 4.5 inches wide, so it's easier to put in your pack. Easier to clean, easier to carry. The whole entire cook system is less than 2 ounces, so let's do it. Okay, so that was a relatively short duration. This bark burns easy and it burns fast. Burns at a high BTU. And basically it's time to flip the fish. The fish has got plenty of fish oil in it. It's got plenty of H2O in it. And that's preventing it from burning. But the bottom line is that fish can be eaten as sushi. It doesn't need to be cooked. And if you cook it too much, if you cook fish for too long, it turns rubbery and kind of tastes gross. So, you know, restaurant food, the way that it holds on to its flavor and the way that it holds on to its texture is by cooking it kind of rare. And that's what camping cooking is. Camping cooking doesn't really cook your food too much. It doesn't really get well done. I mean, you know, unless you really know what you're doing. If you went to culinary academy and you know a lot about cooking food outdoors, then yeah, you could probably cook an entire hog and get it well done. But part of what makes it taste so good is it isn't cooked very well done. This fish has been cooking only for about 10 minutes and it's time to flip it. So let's flip it. All right, let's knock these coals off. All right, it's pretty fun. Plenty of coals. Okay. All right. Let's see how long it takes to touch this thing. Whoop, a little hot. Just a little hot. Oh, it's still a little, it's hot. Okay, but I can knock it off. All right, so as you can see, the fish already fiendishly charred itself to the top. That's charred. Okay, it's fine. All right, but to be honest with you, that even looks cooked, okay? People pay a lot of money for sushi. There's no reason to overcook your fish. And I think this is already cooked. So what we're seeing here with this experiment, well, maybe the bottom is, yeah. All right, so let's flip it. I'm gonna flip it and cook it again. And give me a second to cool this off and clean that up, and we'll cook it for a little while longer. Bam! Oh, that's some soft fish. Oh man, that's falling apart. All right, I can't wait to eat this. I guess I can't bring this on the trail. It's really soft. It's just falling apart. All right. Yeah, that's a little overcooked, just slightly overcooked. It's really expensive fish, so $10 fish sole. Yeah, it could have been cooked a little bit less. Pretty good stuff. Anyway, cooking with a 1-ounce Toak stove takes a little bit of practice, okay? It's a labor of love. It doesn't happen real quick. Takes a while. You got to have a while to hang out and play with some bark and a lighter and burn stuff for a while. Keep an eye on it, hang out and stare at it. But you know, with a little bit of practice, it is pretty fun. Hiking is fun. Cooking with wood is fun. It's something to do. It's an activity. It's a hobby. You know, something to try, practice, get good at. It is light and free. Not everything burns that easy. You gotta get used to looking for stuff that burns and grabbing it off the road or off the side of the trail. Normally, really high trafficked trails like where I live in the Redwoods. You know, the really popular areas, they're not going to have a lot of fuel. But I noticed that right on the side of the road, there's a ton of fuel if you know what to look for. Bark is super flammable. It burns hot and fast. But it is fun to grab. I still have a ton of it here. I mean, look at this. I found this on the side of the road by my house. It's massive, so I got plenty of it. I'm not tripping. I got a lot of it. So anyway, it's fun to use. Eventually, I didn't even need to use a lighter. At first, it was really stubborn. And then after cooking for a while, I didn't need a lighter anymore. I had some coals that I could blow on them, and the bark would just light on fire. So the bark lights fast. It burns fast, but I'm able to just keep throwing bark on there, and it just keeps burning. And it kind of creates an environment that's very, very dry and flammable where stuff is burning. You could say it's physics or you could say it's magic. It doesn't really make any sense. At first, the wood is stubborn and it won't light. After a while, it becomes very flammable and it lights really easy. So the first few fires that I lit, they wouldn't light. But eventually, I didn't even need a lighter to light it. It just lit by itself. It's very weird. It creates an environment where wood starts to burn. It creates like a burning, flammable environment on top of the pan. It's very strange. Okay, you are looking at the first hole that I got in my Big Agnes Axle air pad, and it's the biggest hole I've ever seen. This is a very interesting air pad. The material is very thin and light and very interesting. Never seems to be damp on the inside. And but last night I laid down on a trail that had gravel on it, and one of those pieces of gravel put a hole in the air pad that's just absolutely huge. I never really have seen a hole in an air pad this big. It's massive. Okay, there's the patch. There it is, bam.